in case people haven't realized, yeah, I'm a black female. And so I speak a lot from the black female's perspective and from my personal experiences and observations. I was born black. I'm going to die black. This is the reason why there's sometimes you might hear me do videos that's more catered towards black girls and women. If I sound like I'm speaking a little bit slow right now, I am a little tired, but I'm going to try to get through this without pausing and freezing and being too slow. But this video is about being able to blend in or camouflage, be a chameleon. You gotta basically you have to know when and where to take off the camouflage cloak or your invisibility cloak. So some might be asking, well, Yanni, what do you mean? Basically, let's just say if you are the type of girl that, is into things that a lot of the black people around you may not be into, they may not be privy to, or you might be unorthodox. Some of your goals, some of your desires, you may want to keep to yourself. Also, this has to be said, because I didn't explain this before. You have to know who you're really dealing with. And this may mean even, doing background checks on folks, because, I made the mistake of not really understanding certain people that I was dealing with and interacting with a few years ago. And I think it put me in jeopardy. And perhaps I'm putting it very lightly. Well, it was really their connections that I didn't understand. This is going back into the esoteric bag. There's a lot that I didn't understand, and I had to go and do my own research to fully understand. And by then, it was too late. Everything had already kicked off and was in motion. So basically, what I'm getting at is, okay, like, if you bump into new people, especially online, you gotta know, like, if they're in a secret society, if they're in a cult, you gotta know, you gotta know what you're dealing with, because not knowing could be a problem for you and your loved ones. You can't beef with everybody. You can't have disagreements with everybody. Even if they was wrong, even if they offended you first. You gotta know what you're dealing with. You gotta know what battle to fight. Anyhow, with that being said, going back to like the main reason for this video, certain things if you want to survive, if you want to go to school and work drama free, there are things that you have to keep quiet about. One of those things, let's just say, if you might be interested in dating different types of dudes, but let's just say you're in an environment where it's frowned upon or it's discouraged. You know what I'm saying? For the most part, you might not want to make it known to everybody that you're interested in that. If you're into certain type of alternative music, this is more for like younger sisters in high school or whatever. You might, if you feel like you're gonna get picked on, harassed, or bullied, well, keep your interest, your awkward alternative girl, keep it to yourself. If you have a crush on dudes that's not the same color or race as you, but let's just say like it might be a problem for your family or certain people in your environment, don't tell everybody. Or let's just say you wanna take up for black girls and dark skinned women. Well, first of all, it's a risk with everything you do. It's a risk with things that you don't do. You understand what I'm saying? Like, okay, so when it comes to conversations about colorism, especially as it pertains to dark skinned females, it's not that taboo in 2024. It's more people speaking out about it. It's not as taboo, but let me tell you, maybe 10, 15 years ago, it was a different story. And it was much, much more difficult to like root for dark skinned girls and show your face. Also, you want to always lead with respect. Don't make the mistake that certain individuals make. Like, don't knock down one type of, group of people to uplift the, you know what I'm saying? Let's just say that you have had negative interactions, a lot of negative interactions with certain groups of people, and they may be of African descent. But you also want to cater to a certain type of black female audience, whether they be mixed women, whether they be dark, whether they be unapologetically dark skinned, right? You always lead with respect. For all groups. You don't have to knock one group to uplift the other. You could also root for and uplift a certain type of black female with a certain phenotype and hair texture and complexion, and just not mention other groups. You got to be smart with the way you do this. And I like the way certain black women are doing it who have a safe level of anonymity, but they're also not known for like interacting with people who are dramatic. A lot of times when you see people going low, you don't stoop to their level, especially as a black girl or a black woman. What I've also learned is society don't really care about threats made against black people in general, but especially black females. Society don't really care in general. They go always look for something you did to have warranted somebody to terrorize you or whatever, or hurt you or delete you, even if you weren't the instigator or the aggressor. That's the way this works. It's 1,000 times worse if you don't have protection and you're too outspoken about certain things that may be still kind of like sensitive or taboo for certain people. Like when I started to try to do more to support dark-skinned women, believe it or not, the people who threatened me the most were of African descent. I'm about to help you with that. I'm about to do that. Yeah, I even got stalked.
Did you wash it up before you go?
Okay, let me make you some more. Anyways, don't use that. The rag is under it too hot. You rinsed it, right? You want more food, right? You don't have to clean it. Just rinse it. Just rinse it. I made spaghetti. Anyhow. Yeah, so, but understand that when you're quiet when it comes to certain things, there's a risk with that too. And, let's say if you want to advocate for better representation or more representation for women that look like you, but you're quiet, you don't know how to do it. Well, one of the consequences is if you don't ever try, you may not ever see any changes. All I'm saying is that anything you do comes with a risk. But so you have to be smart. You have to be very calculated and precise, and you got to lead with respect. Don't give people lighter fluid. Yeah, a few years ago, when I wanted to see certain people perform at the MTV Awards, I was threatened. I even got followed. I had people follow me like they wanted to fight me, and you know what I'm saying? And it got to the point where I said, you know what? Maybe dark skinned girls just need to create their own platforms. Don't beg for a seat at the table, especially if it might be a risk to your safety or your family's. That's all I said. Sometimes you gotta, just know that you're gonna have a lot of pressure. And if it's something sensitive that pertains to like skin tone or whatever, and you're of African descent, well, if you're gonna cater to dark skinned women, just know that it's not gonna be easy, because you're gonna get it, and most of the flack that you're gonna get is, believe it or not, it's gonna come from other black people, especially certain dark skinned women, particularly the tokens. So, yes, some dark skinned women don't mind being tokens. They don't mind that it might not be enough representation. But what I'm saying about being strategic, or waiting until you're out of certain environments in order to be a little bit more bold and proud, and to create your own avenues, create your own platforms, and build your own tables, right? It's more practical when you can control your environment. So let's just say if you're still in high school or even college, right? You have to be a lot more careful. There's a lot more things on the line. You have to interact with different types of people. If you're like how, where I come from, an urban setting, well, you're gonna have to interact with a whole lot of black people. You gotta understand what might come with that when you start advocating for certain types of black women, especially if it's like dark skinned girls and women. You gotta know like what might come with that. So leading with respect, and even being anonymous and showcasing beautiful dark skinned women doing healthy things. You know what I'm saying? Maybe preparing healthy meals, going out on nice, dates with men, whether it be, handsome brothers or handsome non-black men. Like, you have to move smart when doing this. Trust me, I'm telling you. Or let's just say that you decide to support certain non-black entertainers and politicians. There's a risk that come with that. There's a risk that, it won't work out for you, and everybody will get together and clown you or whatever. But it's a slim chance that, well, if you're looking to get in certain circles and certain tables, that'll work. But it's 50-50. But it's 50-50. You don't get too many chances with certain things. And I've learned this. I'm still learning this. A lot of times when you're trying to do something new, brand new and unorthodox, especially if you look like this, you know what I'm saying? That black people is going to be your biggest challenge. They're going to be the main ones, you know what I'm saying, to give you problems in certain situations. This is not to say you'll never be challenged or threatened by people that don't look like you, and it's not from your race or your culture. But supporting certain type of non-black men, or letting it be known that you have a thing for different types of men, or you would like to create a platform specifically catered towards black girls and women of a certain phenotype, hair texture, and complexion, let me tell you, these are the things that you have to you know what I'm saying, to know about. These are things you have to look out for. But if you're in an uncontrolled environment where basically you cannot control how a lot of your peers are going to respond to you, certain things you might want to keep to yourself, or you do it smart, you do it safely, and you do it with respect, and you do it with anonymity. So you don't reveal your identity. You create these positive platforms similar to, like, a black woman in luxury, or like dark skin popping, like something like that. Like it could be an IG page, it could be a YouTube channel, or whatever. Whatever. You might want to keep a certain level of anonymity to create those types of platforms that you want to see, instead of arguing with people that feel like those type of platforms is a threat to the status quo, and don't really appreciate them or like them for whatever the reason may be. You know what I'm saying? Everything is not for everybody. You're not going to be everybody's cup of tea. It's okay. Or not everybody's going to rock with your ideas, and it's okay.